Messy writing can cost you a lot. Grammarly Business focuses on commas, spelling, and structure.
TGIF squared, ladies and gentlemen, we have returned. Thank you for your patience. Had a little glitch. Real Media, one click away from perfection. We are back. Definitely want to shout out and thank everybody in the first segment. Nathan Oakley had to step out. Hopefully he'll pop back in. We appreciate all the shout outs, Nathan. Gary managed to stay around with us, so he'll be here to commentate a little bit on the presentation we have lined up. As Zach had said a little earlier, it was amazing watching him have his little aha moment as we went through the slides a couple of days back. So he'll tell you guys about that. But welcome back to the Iron Rim Media Flat Earth Friday Fringe Cast, whatever the hell this thing is.
It's Friday. Well, we're all right.
Licking Friday. We made it. Welcome back.
Take it away, Adam.
Adam, sir, are you ready to launch this vehicle?
Well, I've just finished me intro transitions. Oh man, I'm good.
Well, I'll build up for it and give you a bit of
well, forget that. Forget that. I've got my new screen on with me talking Moon, and she still doesn't talk for me.
It's not talking?
Only for me. Only it'll talk for you, but not for me.
It's working for us. Yeah, I saw it earlier. The rainbows. Look at the rainbow I've made about the moon.
So yeah, give me a minute and I will get the presentations lined up, guys.
So, Zach, what was your aha moment the other day?
Well, I don't want to ruin it just yet, but when you were explaining how you're not supposed to be able to see certain moon phases at certain times of the day, and it's not like it's something that happens every month. It's kind of like the eclipses. This only happens every once in a great while. And once you said that, it really piqued my interest. Like a lot, I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what's he talking about?" Before you said that, I never really understood what you were talking about.
But it's one of those things, isn't it? Is that it's not something you think about until someone tells you to think about it, and it's only then that you do think about it and put it into some sort of spatial place in your head that you actually
see the drawings. Yeah, when you guys were working on the drawings, and then there was one drawing in particular, the one I think we're going to be showing it tonight, where it shows your horizon line.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That did it for me. I was like, whoa, no way. That's insane.
And first off, I'd like to thank Adam for putting the legwork in on doing the artwork on this stuff. He's been doing painstaking stuff all week. Everyone has, actually. We've met up almost every night. Well, it's been a couple of weeks running, so we're bound to cock it up in many ways, but I must say, cheers to all you guys for helping with the copyright and the, understanding it. And it was just such a wicked moment when you, Zach, just went, "Oh my God, oh yeah, I see it." And we had the same moment the week before with Dave Marsh and who was that behind?
Nora was over there, yeah. Over at Rock.
See her when it dawned on her, it was brilliant. So that one we did manage to catch.
And this isn't a new concept. This isn't something John Savage come up with. I mean, this is something numerous people have pointed out. But I wrote a blog about it back in 2016, 17, something like that. And but it was one of those things that I just couldn't readily explain to someone unless I had the right sort of graphics and the right way of describing it. And hopefully that's what we're trying to do tonight. That is the mission and the goal tonight, is to show this extremely simple concept. I mean, if you tried to explain this to a child without telling them what each ball was. You know, this isn't the Earth, this isn't the Moon, this isn't the Sun. This is just a spotlight, and this is two spheres. They can get it straight off. My children, for example, you know, 10s, 11s, they, every time they see an impossible moon phase, they point it out now. They know what an impossible moon phase is and why it's impossible. In fact, actually, I don't know if they do know why it's impossible, but they can certainly spot the impossible moon phases and point them out. So if you want to share your screen, Adam, then let's get this underway.
Give me a second.
That wasn't enough of a build-up then.
You see my OBS screen now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you require full screen or windowed screen? Do we go full screen, John?
Whatever's clearest and biggest and
There you go, pal.
I'm
Let's see
still
if-
sitting
let me
your
see if I-
OBS.
Yeah, that's all you will see.
Why?
You'll have to look at it at this window here.
Oh, you're having a laugh, aren't you?
Same size.
You're not going to go full screen on the screen that I can see.
And you're such a contrarian, aren't you?
Well, so I can see the actual slide that you've made, so I can see it.
Can you not see this here?
I can see your OBS screen. Just share the bloody PowerPoint or whatever it is.
I can.
And this is why, Walt, isn't it? We got them to send the presentation to us, but it all came through all skew and tits up. All the
That
colours were
better?
around the wrong way and everything.
Yeah, it's
They
possible.
know how to screw with us, don't they? That looks good, mate.
Are you happy?
Yeah, well, I can see it.
That's a start,
Look
isn't
at
it?
that
That's a
photo.
start, isn't it? That there you go. Right then, if you're
Right.
ready, Mr. Savage, I am at your. Oh, not suddenly. I'm at your
It's disposal.
sir.
Right. I presume everyone can read that. The Impossible Heliocentric Moon Phases. Next.
Bear with. Okay.
There's a slide I've never seen before.
First, it's your intro slide. You just forgot it, haven't you? Because we haven't done that since.
What, the Pokemon thing?
Oh, that was my screensaver. Get the Pokemon. That's
Okay,
a Pokemon dressed
So here's-
up as the Emperor
Go
with
back.
a Pokeball representing a Death Star. But ignore that. It's from my kids.
Right. So the idea was to keep this presentation as concise and as close to the ball as possible. Okay. Moving on.
Not the Pokeball. Start again. There's your title. Go, Savage.
So we've got a simple question to ask if the slide will ever change. And there it is. So how do we see a nearly full moon during the day or a crescent moon during the night? Answers on a postcard, please, but next. Right, so there's a little bit of background here. Adam, you can annotate.
Well, for me, this bit is just like take yourself through the simple principles of the heliocentric model. So let's just get some basic assertions down from their model so that we can understand it. This is principle one, isn't it?
So it says the Earth takes one day to make a complete rotation upon its axis. During this time, different parts of the Earth have day and night. No, hopefully we're not stressing the listeners too far yet. So the moon phases, it's a replica of what you can find if you go to a search engine and type in moon phases, how do they work? This is the sort of image you're going to find. So moon phases depend on its position, basically the moon's position relative to the sun as we see it from Earth. So at this point, I was going to go to the woman and the video. So can I nick the screen share?
Well, John, before we do that
Go on.
and get a copyright strike, I'm actually about halfway through sending that video over that I made to Adam. I got it to work during the break. I should have told you, but I came back late because I was doing that. So if you can just give me like another minute and a half, maybe two.
Well, these are only these are
Move on. Just
stills.
yeah, continue this because if we can
Oh,
go
okay.
to
Well, if you
if we
wanna
can
try
go to
that,
Waltz, yeah,
okay.
it'll show it once we've proved the point. I think that'll be better. So these
Okay,
are just
moving on then.
yeah. This is just a rough approximation, isn't it, of the moon phases as they're demonstrating, and we're going to explain this diagram a little bit more as we go through it. Really.
Okay, moving on. Right. So according to their model, in order for the moon to appear as a crescent, right, it is based on the angle of the sunlight reflection. It'd have to be located somewhere along the red lines, right? And I want people to take note that the red lines and the day and night of Earth. So you have basically what we're pointing out here is that you should only really see a crescent moon based on its angle of sunlight reflection in the daytime. So on the daylight side of the Earth. So next slide. And similarly, this is where you would see these are the only two positions that you should see the half moon or the quarter moon or whatever they want to call it. So a half moon would have to be located in one of these two positions. So that would essentially be, well, would I be right in saying that's sunset and sunrise? You'd only see a half moon?
Yeah, and the visible hours around that. Where the moon becomes visible based on its location.
So certainly not at midday or midnight anyway, but moving on to the next one. And this is similar with the gibbous moon. Gibbous meaning more than half lit. So similarly, the gibbous moon would only be able to be made taking the sun's reflection off the moon and your position on Earth. You would only be able to see a gibbous moon in the nighttime along these red lines. The gap in the middle is obviously for the full moon, which isn't a gibbous. Next one.
May I pop in here for just one moment?
Go for it.
Can you go back to that last slide, please, Adam? So Christmas of 2015, I believe, if not, it was 2016. I was deep into the research and had anticipated a 100% full moon at midnight when the sun and everything would have worked out to be perfectly on the other side of the heliocentric ball. And there it was, 100% full at midnight. I had it on video. I think it's on my channel. So not long after that, we had a call in opportunity with Stan Friedman from the UFO world, and he was debating a flat earther. I think it was maybe Mark. I'm not sure. It was a long time ago. Anyway, and I brought that up. How are we seeing a full moon at midnight unless the earth is clear? it should be being eclipsed, etc., etc. So, of course, then we get into the distances and the planes and the angles and da 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 da. Just want to throw that out there. What's your take on that?
Well, they'll throw back the 5% inclination of the moon, etc., etc. But yeah, we're trying to get it for the naysayers to an absolute zeros.
I think
that made no sense at
no,
all.
I'd agree with you there, John. Ignoring the 5% in this is first principles and the basics of it. And 5%, as it sounds, is it's only 5%, so it doesn't negate the points of principle we're making. So not worth worrying. So if we'll move on, won't we, to the basically to put a bit more explanation around it. Hey, John, you like the yellow circle? I gave it you. Hey?
I do.
Yeah, boys. There's your yellow circle.
But you missed the annotation of 1 month.
Kiss my chuddies, you.
One
later, mate. Later. Right. So what we're showing here then, Adam?
Well, for me, this is kind of to represent during the roughly during the monthly cycle, the relative positions of the sun, excuse me, moon and Earth. So you can see that at the new moon, where the new moon is, if we got our waxing crescent, you can see it's at the beginning of the month. Where we've got the first half moon, this is where the relative positions will be. Ignore the scale, and we're gonna
hold on, but this would be the beginning of a month, not the month. It's not like this every month.
A lunar month, so it's not a full 28 days, hence the little roughly.
Yeah, this is just a snapshot in time.
Yeah.
It's not every month. Anyway, I think we're complicating it slightly on that front. Can we go on the next slide? This is what we should see, basically. This is what is described by all NASA pictures and I think physics websites, etc.
This is the standard diagram, isn't it? So that obviously here, when we've got the full moon, we're halfway through the lunar month, and that it follows round relative, so that we get the last quarter half moon 3/4 the way through the lunar month, and then it comes to the waning crescent.
The important thing on this picture is to note that in the daytime, as you see from the Earth, in the daytime, if you looked up, you'll see a crescent. At night time, if you look up, you'll see a gibbous or a full. Okay. So we're going to go on to highlight. This shows us, this is how modern education teaches what the visible horizon is. So it's, what is that?
I stole this from the Astronomy Explain, whatever that website was, but it's a basic explanation of your astronomy from the Earth, and the purpose of the red lines and that, which I've simplified, is really to show how the observer will take angles of observation and how they then can translate those observed angles from this visible horizon and then recalculate the angle so that the angle is relevant to the center point of the Earth based on the celestial horizon. And that's really there for astronomical purposes. But the purpose of this is to show that even they recognize that the visible horizon, i.e. what you can see on their model, is limited to what's above the yellow line.
Yeah, absolutely. Going on.
Got your crescent.
Right, so this is showing the visible horizon at midnight. And it's showing the relative position of the moon and the sun, obviously not to scale. And it's basically highlighting the fact that if you're seeing a crescent moon, it's under that visible horizon. It can't be above that visible horizon and work on their model, because the sunlight reflecting off that object they call the moon and your position on Earth can never show you a crescent model at night. Next slide.
Well, the next slide.
Murdering this.
The next slide is what me and you, what did my head in, because my ball of training kind of made me went, yeah, but John, look at that diagram. It's not to scale. Look, the moon's this far away, the sun's that far away, and it means you'll eventually see it. And we messed it. Was it on Zoom? We did it because of their little drawing thing.
Yeah, a annotation thing.
Yeah, and you beat it into me. And so the next diagram really was what I put together to kind of explain that it doesn't matter what the scale is, it doesn't matter how far away you move it. In actual fact, you know, the relative distance from the diagrams do it a favor. The further away you get, the actual further below in miles it becomes below the visible horizon.
Okay, next slide. There you go. Right, so that's what that is basically saying, that scale of distance doesn't affect the position in the visible horizon. You still have that hard yellow line that is your visible horizon. Anything below that line you are not going to see. And this is on a billiard ball Earth. If you've got a mountain or a tree or a town next to you in your vicinity, then your visible horizon is going to be even less than that. This is best case scenario. So yeah, moving on.
Well, I'm just going to go back forwards even. I'm just going to go back to this one where I mentioned the visible horizon, celestial horizon, and the angle that we're talking about here of the moon, and the angle we're talking here is that backward calculation or the assumed position on their model. So that is the point, that it you know, you did slap me with it, John. It did me head in for a bit because I couldn't comprehend it. That was my moment where I went, oh, bloody hell, of course, yeah.
Right. Everybody's had some of that on this. That's awesome.
It doesn't matter how far away it is, it's not going to bring it back above the visible horizon. So, yeah, that's my confessional moment.
Yeah, I'm still not getting it. What I'm not getting that wow moment. But why can't those moons be back this way a bit?
Right, just
why can't they be down a bit so the viewer from in the dark at midnight?
So if you move the moons, towards, if you move the moons towards the visible horizon, yeah, is that what you're saying? Then the phase of the moon would change. When that moon hits the celestial horizon, which is halfway through the ball, then all you could possibly ever see is a half moon or quarter moon or whatever they want to call it. Right. So what Adam's drawn here on this line coming out is when it appears as a crescent moon. But anyway, we've stalled again and made this hugely complicated.
Well,
I'm trying to get it because I'm treat me as the guinea pig.
Right. So this next slide.
Trying to explain this. If those moons go down at the 45 degrees, just keep going down at the 45 degrees to the other side of that line, then they will stay. The light shining on the moon would still be a crescent moon, and that's what I would see. That's what I would see. Or maybe I'm not getting it.
Rob, let's try it from the other side then. So now we're going to try a gibbous moon. So what you see on screen now is it's midday, and there's your visible horizon. You're looking at the sun. Look at midday, and the relative positions on a clock of the sun and moon in their model to generate this gibbous moon is shown here. Get the scale, just the relative angles, what's demonstrated here, where the sun has to be, where the moon has to be to generate that moon. Okay.
I think my problem is here. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I think my problem is here is it's not in a 3D model, and I'm trying to get my head around where. So that moon down the bottom right-hand side, is it on this side of the Earth or is it on the other side of the Earth?
That's top-down 2D image.
That's why I told you,
Demonstrate as a
Adam,
plot.
we needed the North Pole. We needed
All
the
right,
top,
just gonna check your
top
Telegram
down
real quick, Adam.
image. But anyway, let's move on because the actual aha isn't that difficult. You're probably trying to see things that are more complicated than they are. So this is the next one: is the scale and distance again. It doesn't affect it. What affects what you see is the position of the moon and the sun as you see it from Earth. And as you can see on this slide, you would only ever see a gibbous moon, which is what we're looking at, on the night side of the Earth, right? So the guy where the yellow line is drawn for the visible horizon, that's 12 o'clock midday for him. So anything below that yellow line to the right-hand side, i.e. the moon, is absolutely not going to be seen as a gibbous moon. Right? If you move that moon around to where he would see it, let's say the 10 o'clock position, then he wouldn't be seeing a gibbous moon. He'd be seeing a crescent moon because of the position of the moon and the sun in relation to him seeing it on Earth. Okay, can we go to the next slide? So this is it. So how can we ever see a gibbous moon during the day or a crescent moon during the night, bearing in mind that we see those shapes because of the position of the moon in relation to where we're viewing it and the sun reflecting off it? So is there another slide or not? Is that the last? And yet, this is what we see. We see gibbous moons during the day all the time, and we see crescent moons at night time all of the time. Now, the reason I'm raising this is because, if you can stop sharing your screen, Adam, is because there's times when I share mine now. Yeah, cool.
And Adam, you should have that video in your Telegram app I sent.
Okay, so there's a time coming up, March 15th. And on March 15th, we should be able to see a gibbous moon at exactly 12 o'clock midday. Right? And what this means is this is how NASA depict it. Oh, no, sorry. That's May. We're looking at March. March 15th. This guy here is at midday, and this is his visible horizon. And what's going to be visible to him at midday is a gibbous moon.
But you see the gibbous moon for the whole time it's in the sky for you at that time. It doesn't just... It's not only there for 1 minute, it's there for the whole day.
What creates the gibbous moon, Rob?
According to them, the sunlight.
Yeah, but it has to be at a certain position around the ball, doesn't it? So let me try and explain. Am I still sharing or not?
Oh, you've stopped.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is if I see a crescent moon or whatever, I see it for the whole time it's in the sky. That night, it goes from east to west, and I see it the whole time. And then the next night, it's just a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, depending on what phase it's on. It's
Can
you
you
don't see
see
a
my
gibbous
screen?
moon for only the 1 minute.
Can you see my screen, Rob?
I can see you.
Sorry,
I can see
You're not
your
sharing.
avatar.
I mean, John, you're not sharing.
I'm not
Not yet.
sure. Yeah, bollocks.
No, it's just your avatar. Adam,
Okay,
I'm not sure.
there
Did
you
you
go.
really?
Okay.
Okay, so that's a crescent moon, right? And it's caused because the moon is between her head, which is the main shot, and the sun. And you see, she's looking at the sun, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so that's a crescent, and that's how it's formed. And this is a gibbous.
Video.
You see, the back of her head is facing the sun, and it's out towards it. That is how you create the gibbous moon. So to see a gibbous moon, this, during the day when she's looking at the light, is impossible, is what I'm saying. She can't create a gibbous moon whilst looking at the light, yeah, during the day. So the fact that we see gibbous moons during the day and crescent moons during the night is an impossibility on their model, is what I'm saying. And how I'm going to prove that is the March the 15th and May the 10th. So this is March 15th. You have a gibbous moon that you shouldn't be able to see during the day, and yet you can see it from 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, all the way through. And then we have on the 10th of May, and there's another one on the 8th of June, I think, as well, where you see a crescent moon, which you should never be able to see at night, and you can see it all the way up through midnight. So that was the premise of these two tweets. It's midnight on the 10th of May. This is what.
So they're saying that person in that particular location can see that gibbous moon, not the whole, not the Earth. The person at that particular location.
Well, that's just my location. If you want to go to,
right, okay, that makes more sense.
If you want to go to, if you get rid of that sodding crap.
So that tells me the times would be wrong that he could see it, because he's going to be able to see it for 12 hours.
Yeah. No, I think you're missing the point, I think. I can't even get to this.
Yeah, but seeing it at midday.
What, Adam?
It should be at least well beyond the horizon at midday. The gibbous. It should be a crescent midday, if anything.
So we got a waxing crescent at midnight. Yeah, right. So I can move this. Possibly. There we go. So I can move it to Iceland, and they'll also see it at midnight. I'll move it to Florida, and they'll see it at midnight. I'll move it to Western America. They'll see it at midnight too, and I'll move it down to you, Rob. You won't, you awkward bastard. But I bet you're not far off. All right, 22. But there'll be a time that you can go through. Okay, so I'm saying for just about every location in the Northern Hemisphere, you'll see a waxing crescent moon that really should only be able to be seen during the day because of the angle of the sun and the moon and the earth. You'll see it at midnight, which...
All right, well, explain why I wouldn't be able to see it.
No, you will be able to see something on another date and another time. Something.
No, at the same time or the same day, the same 24 hours. Why wouldn't I see the same one? If we live on a...
Because you're in you're 12 hours time zone away from me.
And the moon is tidal.
Or 11 or 9 hours or whatever. away from me. But there will be a time when you can see a gibbous moon at 12 midday.
It should be 12 hours later. It should be 12 hours later, shouldn't it?
But the moon and the sun's position relative to each other 12 hours later are different. The crescent is different.
Yeah, but
So
not on the heliocentric model. It's very, very similar.
So let's
Very
do
similar.
it from Australia and do what I did for the UK. You carry on discussing, and I'll go through and see what we can find.
Rob, the point is, mate, how do you see, can you see the alignment that's required for the, forget whether you're in Australia or whatever, these anomalies are what we're pointing out that don't match up the ball model. Now, they may not happen in the same day in Australia as they do in North Europe, but the point we're making out is you're seeing gibbous moons during the day, crescent moons during the night, and that alignment is not explainable by the geometry, is what we're saying.
Right. Which is what I meant. I was thinking monthly, not daily. But again, that's a lot of more video slides. I mean, slides.
The monthly alignment is the alignment of the sun, moon, and Earth. Okay, and that's what creates the phase. What we're talking about here is during that one set day with that particular alignment.
Exactly.
What can be seen as the Earth rotates, as we said at the start,
if the
during
sun's
that
behind the
what
moon,
day and
you
what is
couldn't
visible.
see- right.
Do you get it?
The
Rob?
only thing you should ever see if the sun is behind the moon is a new moon or a slight crescent. Never a gibbous.
Well, I'll just have to think about it some more then, I guess.
Adam, did you check Telegram?
Yeah,
Or is
I'm just downloading the 18
Okay, I was
meg
gonna say, I didn't
file
know
you
it's
sent me
out.
whilst I'm
But-
doing all this streaming. So
Right.
excuse my.
That's why it took forever to get there, is because I'm doing the same thing. I knew it was going to be lengthy, so I was like, I may not even got to him yet.
Oh, I'll figure out it. What?
Yeah, I listened to these guys talk about this for a while.
And then it
And
hit
I
him.
had no clue what they were talking about. It's like, yeah, okay, so what? You know, I see that. And then all of a sudden, it's the midday part. You have to concentrate on what you should see at midday or midnight. When, you know, either the sun is directly above you or directly on the opposite side of you. You shouldn't see certain types of moons then, because the sunlight only creates those certain types of moons when it's either on this side of you, like between you and the sun, or on the opposite side, where you're in the center, between you and you're between the moon and the sun. That's when you have your gibbous, when it's real big. And then when you're directly in between it, it's a full moon. So you should never see a gibbous when the moon is in between you and the sun. It should not happen. It should only be a crescented moon. Like right after the new moon, it's always, you know, you see the crescent on either side. Whether it's going towards the new moon or away from the new moon, it's always a crescent. Well, you should never see that at midnight, you know, a crescent. Because it's always right, it's by the sun. It's between you and the sun at that time.
I'll give up looking for you down south.
So
You're
what does that
down
tell you?
there.
You just couldn't find it. So what does that tell you?
That
There's
tells me that
something
you
weird
haven't
going
looked.
Rob, let's just transition. Walt, shall I play this video now? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Whenever you want to.
Is this this might help a bit? Is
It's
this
the
your
first run, and it may not even look right, but I was trying to demonstrate what we're talking about for John, for sure.
God bless you, Walt.
Okay, wait, here I haven't. Is it playing? Are we just not hearing it?
No, I don't
No,
see
there's
it
no.
yet.
I don't think there's any sound, is there?
Okay,
That's
if
the other
you're-
problem is I couldn't get the sound right at all. So just get it on and I'll talk it up. But I don't see
Yeah.
it on the screen yet, do I?
If
It's
you are
on-
in
it's on
between the
YouTube.
moon and the sun,
Oh, on YouTube.
the moon should always be bigger than half.
Well, let me go see what's on YouTube. Hang on.
If that makes any sense.
Going to YouTube is about as difficult as flicking between PowerPoint and your
Uh-huh.
Twitter feed, mate. Just share your screen. Plus, you're cocking up my share.
You don't realise how many buttons I've got to press and stop to do that, just to show you that.
I know you're going
You
blind.
know, as Nathan said, I need more real estate. I need more real estate. I need more screens.
We
to
need
do
a
that
producer.
easily. It's really hard juggling. The point is, you're going round there, and your head is always facing the moon, to demonstrate the phases. But if your head then stop that phases, so if I stop it, the world gets a bit of a. Oh,
Keep this on a loop, mate, because I've only just managed
Yeah,
to.
the first time I did it in stops at each section just to show, and then the second and third time I just did a steady around and around to kind of show how it phases in and out, so that at some point you'll go, oh, right there, it shouldn't even ever be gibbous, or it should never be crescent behind you, or any of that. You know, you'll
That's
see it eventually.
awesome. That really is cool.
Okay, we're gonna see if this works.
of
Okay,
course.
Rob, do you see the marshmallow?
Yeah.
I am in between the light source and the marshmallow. So
Oh, hold on.
The moon is the marshmallow.
Are you sharing now? Oh, shit.
What happened?
Okay, hold on. Zach, you're doing a live demonstration, yeah?
No, he's looking at the YouTube script.
No, he's doing a live one with the marshmallow.
Right, then you'll have to bear with me. Bear with me,
Yeah,
Zach.
that's going to fuck you up, isn't it? Yeah,
That's totally
pushing
thrown
some
me.
buttons, Meekin.
I've got 15 down and we sports and press. What do I do? Panic.
There we go. I've got you full screen now.
All right.
Okay, you talk away, Zach.
So the marshmallow is the moon, and our light source will be the top of the garage there, that light. So we have a full moon when I am directly in between the marshmallow or the moon and the sun, right?
And you are Earth.
Yeah, I am Earth. Now, if I move it over this way, part of the marshmallow, we'll say it's a gibbous now because part of it is being shadowed. And it's still, I am somewhat still in between the light source and the moon, the sun and the moon. Now, when we go to make me and the moon even with the sun, it's a half a marshmallow now. So as long as I am in between the moon and the sun, it should be bigger than half a marshmallow or half a moon, always, whenever I'm in between it. Now, when I go and make the marshmallow closer, the line will get even smaller and smaller as I get closer to the sun until it gets to halfway point again. It'll start getting smaller. The crescent will always get smaller when the moon is in between you and the sun.
And take note that you are now in the daylight. You're now at daytime.
Yeah, now I'm at daytime. Yeah, I'm looking at the sun. So that's your new moon right there. And then it starts crescenting and you can see it.
And that's all you should ever see. When
So the
moon-
crescent always happens. Yeah, the crescent always happens during the daytime. It should.
During the daytime. And round
Once
the
it hits
back.
50, you can never see it at midnight.
What
when
I
am
need you to
in
do now,
between
what
it.
I need you to do is do a waltz around the light while you are, yeah. I need you to do a waltz around the light, if you know what I mean, because the Earth and the Moon spins at nearly the same rate. It takes 28 days for that Moon to get around the Earth, or you know what I mean. So that's the bit that I'm trying to get my head around, is that bit, because you're doing a whole month in a turnaround there. where that's not how it works.
Okay, Rob.
No,
Rob, Wait,
Rob.
wait.
Hold on, Adam. Hold on, Adam. Rob, you need to actually do this. Get a marshmallow, get the light, and produce a daytime gibbous light on that marshmallow, and produce a crescent light on that marshmallow at night time when you're facing away from the light.
Right,
You'll find it's
John.
impossible. It's nothing to do with moons, months, or anything else. Go on, Adam.
Slow it down. But Zach, can you set up a gibbous moon for us?
Right there.
Okay. Yeah. So
Here, I'll get it even closer. See, you can
Yeah.
still see the marshmallow where it's shadowed.
you can see, look, Rob, that
That's daylight. That's daylight, and he's got one, hasn't he?
no, that's the
No, I'm
that's,
facing away.
That's
So
away
it's in
from
I'm
daylight.
in between.
Can you see where his head's facing? His head, i.e., the position of the Earth where he is on the Earth, means it's night time.
Yep.
So he can see. Right. Now keep the moon, the marshmallow, where it is. And what Zach's going to do is turn his head around like he's possessed. So it becomes daytime for him. How can he see that gibbous moon in the daytime visual horizon he has? Bring the marshmallow back round to you now, Zach, and look what happens to the marshmallow. Turns into a crescent. Now, if he turns his head to midnight and leaves it in the crescent, how can he ever see that crescent at night?
Yeah, all right. Right.
We did all those freaking slides, and we only needed a marshmallow. That's class, Zach.
That was very good. But I think we should go back and look at Walt's video again and pause it when he's at the gibbous and the crescent. Is that possible? Oh, no, you've got to flick 100 buttons now, haven't you?
Yeah, but I can do it now because I've out.
I think that was awesome how you explained that, Adam, and the marshmallow. Inspired.
Can you see Walt's video now?
Because you can see where Walt's head is in position to the light, which you couldn't see with Zach just then. It was a little bit difficult to see when you're facing away from the light and towards the light.
You
But
guys
Walt's
see
got
it?
the picture in picture.
John.
Yeah, we can see it.
At the
Okay.
beginning here, I'm rambling on about how you see a midnight full moon. That's why I keep showing it in the dark right there. So, but I couldn't get the audio to work right at all. I'm going to redo it better with audio.
It'll be interesting to see the comments because hopefully some Globers will have some explanation for that.
Do we have a call online?
I've been asking for it for 3 years, mate. Do we what?
Is the flat
Sorry?
line open? With Josh not being here, is the flat line not running tonight?
No idea, mate.
I've not got that kit. And that's only Josh. I don't know.
Yeah,
Unless Walt's got it. Don't know.
But I'll tell you what, anyone who wants to call in next week with their example of a gibbous moon during the day, showing us how they can do this, feel free. Because I've been asking for 3 years now that just to provide a three circle diagram showing a gibbous moon during the day and a crescent moon during the night.
Yeah, Travis, the plain truth, was trying to explain this to me a little ways back. And it just didn't click, you know? It just didn't.
I don't know why it doesn't click. Do you know? Can you put your finger on it? Because it's one of those things.
No, it should. Well, it's because when you said directly during midday or midnight, that really sunk it in, and the fact that it doesn't happen all the time. This isn't something that happens every month. It's kind of like an eclipse. It only happens once in a great while.
Yeah, this year I've got March 15th, May 10th, and June 8th. And then the next one, I think, is March next year. But it was a case of literally finding every gibbous and every crescent moon and then looking it up on Mooncalc or whatever and seeing whether it was going to be visible within, the midnight or the midday time, because I didn't want to bring this out until I had two examples of that people could go away and watch. Like on March, I get confused. I think on March is a gibbous moon at 12 midday,
Day, yes, sir.
and on May 10th it's a crescent moon visible at 12 midnight. And admittedly, Rob, that is probably for the Northern Hemisphere. I don't know. I haven't put the hours in the South, but you're more than welcome to, because they will come around at your time as well. And if they don't, that's even more anomalous. Why? But I can certainly show that they do in the North.
Just like the eclipses, not everybody sees it,
Could be.
Only certain parts.
Well, I mean, I think it's understandable because Australia is at least 11 to 9 hours ahead or behind, whichever way you want to look at it, the UK. But I've shown you can see it in the UK, in Iceland, in East and West America. So it's simply a case of going through Mooncalc or whatever and finding out what day and month of the year it will be visible at those extremes for you. In reality, this shouldn't be visible at, say a crescent moon shouldn't be visible at 11 or 10 or 9 or 8 o'clock at night, really. But 12 o'clock at night is the absolute that it shouldn't be seen. And the same with the gibbous during the day. It shouldn't be seen at 12, 11, 10, 9 o'clock in the morning. It just shouldn't be seen, knowing what your visual horizon is. This is why we're calling it impossible moon phases. Sorry.
All right, John, I'm going to have to duck off, but that's something to think about. I'm going to have a big, long think about that and try and recreate it here later on and get my head around it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, try it. Dark
All right,
room.
Yeah.
Play with the balls. Don't go blind. Take it easy, Rob. Really good to have you back on the show, mate.
Yeah.
I love you. Hate you. Love you. Hate you.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. I'm glad you're here. See you in 6 months.
All right. And thanks to everyone in chat too. Some good day. Thanks, Bye.
See you later, bro.
Yeah, I think he had his moment.
Marshmallow moment.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Walt. You were showing exactly what I was doing right there.
Wait, what? I'm sorry. I was trying to catch up on chat. What'd you say, Zach?
I just said sorry. I went and did the marshmallow thing, and it was.
Oh no, that was brilliant, dude. There's nothing
exactly
like live
what you were doing.
I mean, that's what clicked for Rob. So I mean, yeah, dude, I was trying to figure out a way to do it live, and it just wasn't doable in this room. And then actually, now that I've got all the lights turned on the way I do for the show, I could have probably done it live here. It just wouldn't have been as, seeing it head on and how the actual shadows move and how when it's looking at the sun, there's no way for gibbous to happen, period. And it's farther side away, there's no way for that, crescent to, a new moon, any of that.
You could have said 2 weeks ago, though, couldn't he, John? Could have said to us, I can do this with a marshmallow.
I think it was brilliant on the spot, improvisation. And it really explained it. The only thing you couldn't do was have that side-on view, orthopedic view, or whatever they call it, to show that, when you,
I love it.
Orthodontic, what's it? I can't remember what it is.
It's called, it was orthographic, but it's
Orthographic.
now called Muppet Vision.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But having the Muppet vision. But I think that, no, orthographic for this example was ideal, because there was a point when you were showing a gibbous moon in your marshmallow, and he was going, yeah, it's daytime, and it's like, well, that's where the orthographic view would have shown that you're completely facing away from the sun, and it couldn't be daytime at all. So that's where the dual camera thing with Walt came in really well. But
Yeah.
I mean, anyone listening, this is a rehearsal. It's the first time we've actually tried to talk through it and get our shit together. And we're hoping to bring out something a little more choreographed. But I loved that marshmallow. Fantastic.
I don't think it'll get any smoother than that, John.
Okay.
Well, this is like a
You have
silver
standards.
bullet. I mean, this
we
is
still-
a silver bullet to me.
It was to me. That's why I wrote the blog. But reading the blog back, 2 years, 3 years later, or whatever it is, it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, and didn't explain anything. Which is why I keep pushing this, and and people like Dave Marsh keep pushing it, and the Morgile, and numerous other people have tried to get this across. But I just don't see enough people.
See, I've heard
Getting it.
everybody talk about it, but they haven't said the midday thing like you did to me. And they weren't saying that it was, it wasn't a monthly thing, that it was very rare. It was kind of like an eclipse rare.
Right.
I had never heard that before. Once you said that, something set in that it was like, whoa, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
I mean, I
Yeah,
was
you
just
said
having
that,
a
it's
chat
really
with
dead
someone on Twitter, and sort of said, so how do I see a gibbous moon at midday? And they're like, well, I don't know that you can. And that was, I think the name was Being Vegan on Twitter. And she was coming back and said, well, I don't know that you can see a gibbous moon at midday. And I thought to myself, I kicked myself and thought, well, shit, do I know that I can see? I mean, I've got thousands of moon pictures, but are any of them at midday? I mean, I'm barely up at midday to go and get a picture of the moon. So I started trawling through the moon calc thing. And, I'm not even saying that that's accurate. I'm saying, please tell me what you see on the 15th of March at midday. Can you see the gibbous moon rising? And we'll soon find out, won't we?
I'll be watching.
Beware the Ides of March.
Yeah, this is big. I can't believe I never got it until yesterday. I thought I was someone clever. Now I feel kind of foolish. Something so simple.
No, it's not a case of being foolish at all. It's a case of having never thought about it. That's, there's nothing foolish about that. If you've never thought about it, it's, like you say, you hear all the people talking about it and going, yeah, you can't. It's like seeing Mercury during the night. Unless you've sat there and tried to think about it and realize, oh my God, yeah, it's within our orbit of the sun. There's no way you'd be able to see it at night. And yet I do. Then these are sort of slaps in the face that occur throughout the year that none of us are aware of unless we're looking at this stuff,
Same for me. I as I said, I ignored the phases because I thought, oh yeah, but the distance, it'll bring it back into view, so you don't worry about it. You know what I mean? And that's why you can see it. But as we showed there, that relative scale has no impact on the visual horizon, and that's the bit that my programming allowed me to ignore it, Zach, and that was my. It's a matter of actually bothering. It's not about being done. It's about a matter of bothering to look at what you're being asked. That reality is, you're being asked to believe it from these positions, and it's not until you bother to really say, well, what is available, what positions do these things have, the bodies have to be to make these shapes. And like you say, you get a marshmallow out and try and twist your head to see it when
Can you share the slides, the slideshow again, and just sort of scroll through it for those who want to have a look?
Yeah.
Because although we explained them, it might be, or maybe you want to add to the explanations of them.
Okay.
The slide that really got me was the one that showed the viewing limit of where you are on Earth.
Showing the visual horizon.
Yeah, the one out of your blog, I believe it was.
Oh, right. I know the one. Have you got that, Adam? The one where it's looking back into space. I don't think it's on the slideshow. It was one of the extra ones I'd given you in Doodah. Maybe I should share it and put it up. I've got it here. You need to surrender.
Okay, back to you.
That one.
Yes, exactly.
And this is the one that was trying to explain how you would see these impossible moon phases. But as you can see, they do a reasonable job at trying to explain it from 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. and 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. No problem. So they're basically saying that you'll only ever see a gibbous moon at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, or at 4 or 5 in the evening. Where what I'm saying is, on March 15th, you're going to see a gibbous moon at noon, wherever you are in the Northern Hemisphere, as far as we can tell, which is utterly impossible. And on May 10th, you flip this around, you're going to see a crescent moon at midnight, which again is utterly impossible. It would have to be over here somewhere. And there, I think we can end the presentation. That was the first round of it. We'll try and put something a little bit more choreographed together to go out on the Wednesday show.
There's one more bit, John, I wanted to mention, and that was to do with, let me screen share for you guys again. Bear with me.
We got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you all. Everybody who's been pushing this and hasn't let up on it yet. Because this one would have slipped right by me for sure.
Hey, mate, I'm live for that aha moment. I wish I'd recorded it. Just listening, just hearing you and I've forgotten her name again. Nora. Sorry, Nora. I was crap at names. Just hearing that last week on the show was just amazing. Oh, I get it. Of course, it wouldn't happen. It's impossible. Brilliant.
So my only bit was just, again, I talk about how you're confused by some of the rhetoric and some of the stuff we were doing, and it relates to this diagram and how we've positioned the moon. Is in a lot of the diagrams, it's not the same as this, and I'd like some feedback on that if people will look at it. We've had to reposition the moons, and if you go and look at Google it, you'll see that the phases aren't necessarily the same as the way we've portrayed them in terms of their orientation.
Right. This all still is a confusing thing because I've seen a bunch of different ways they present this. And I mean, it's all, of course, just to make it difficult for anybody to go look for some simple answer. It's like what Nathan was saying in the first part, show me your model. They can't. That's why the pictures face all the different directions and the sunlight angles are different. They don't, none of it works.
But yeah, that's it from me, guys.
But yeah, that's an interesting point, and I'll carry on from there. There's because I've got a number of examples of how they really misportray everything. So I'll share my screen again if you can relinquish.
Yeah, done it.
Cool.
While you're getting that up, there was a few questions that have come through the chat. I just want to throw at you. Like Ian Adams asked, why does the moon disappear for 4 days? Interesting. And then earlier, Arwen was talking about the fact that when we're seeing the brightly lit crescent, the shadow, air quote, side is definitely still there, visible, almost like a contrast.
Yeah. I've been seeing that.
Yeah, it was
ever
very
since
distinct.
becoming aware of it.
Right. It was distinct the other night during the eclipse for damn sure.
Well, it's similar to this shot here, isn't it? Where you can, there is a light side, there's a dark side, but you can see the whole thing. And then there are other times when you can't see anything at the shaded side. And why does it disappear 4 days? Great question. How does it disappear? How does it disappear from camera view under all sorts of filters and everything? I mean, we literally can't see it when it's here. There should be a split second when it's invisible, and then a minute later, there should be an absolute pinpoint white glaring light around the outside, which, depending on which way you want to show it going. But this is one example where they don't show the day and the night side of the Earth, and they don't show where the sun is. Now, obviously, most of us adults should know that the sun is over here with the new moon, but this is a training aid from, I can't remember where, physics.org or something. And this is one of the better ones that actually shows it, but it still keeps things very quiet. Now, this is another one sort of geared towards the children. Now, this is a crescent moon here on the right side. They show the sun, so fair play. I'm not quite sure what this shadow is across the middle here, but they show the crescent moon on this side. But then when it comes to the gibbous moon, they've shaded the gibbous part of it, and it's still a crescent moon on this side. So how is that not going to cause confusion completely? And same down here. This grey area should be the white, and the crescent part should be the grey area to show a gibbous. Neither of these are gibbous moons, and that's just another example. This is another one. Okay, this is good. They've got it right. They've got the shading right here. But this shows us that you can't have a gibbous moon.
Look at the waning. Look at the waning gibbous, John, on that one.
The waning gibbous is right. Yeah, the waning gibbous is right. So you've got the larger size of the moon is white, and it has a dark crescent
facing
to it. But what it does show is that you can't have a waning crescent over here these crescents are only viewable from the day side. These gibbous are only viewable from the night side, not to mention the full moon. And you can see the full moon on the day side as well. And I'm pretty sure, not that I've checked, but you on a new moon, you probably can't see the moon at all on the night side. But there's nothing. This is why Adam created the slides, because none of them were particularly accurate. And this is the woman who was doing
those NASA ones. Just go up to those ones, because they kind of exemplify the point of how they twist and pervert the orientation. So if you look at that one, look at where the sunlight is coming in from on the little diagram in the top left. Okay, and now remember that orientation. Now go to the next phase one.
Well, no, hold on. This is the March 15th when...
I'm not on about that. I'm on about the orientation of the picture. So just look at that orientation based on the diagram. And go to the next one. See? Rotates. And if you go to your other crescent ones, they're from a even more different angle.
Well, the point of these pictures is...
What I'm meaning is they use these twists and rotations to give you the familiar shape, but what they're actually not in doing that, they're hiding actually their relativity to the orbits that they show in that top left picture.
Does it mention what phase it is in here? Doesn't, does it? But this is actually a gibbous, the 11th of May, 10th of May, 11th of May. This being able to see a gibbous at, oh no, sorry, this is crescent at night. Yeah, getting confused now. This one is the 15th of March coming up, and this is 12 o'clock midday. You see, they don't put it in a blue background, do they, so to show you that it's daylight. It's nighttime, according to them. But this is 12 o'clock midday. So from here, this is what, and bear in mind that visible horizon, and the moon will be well below it. But this moon, okay, so it's gibbous, but you're being able to see it from 12 o'clock midday. So using those graphics that they had there, this is what we come up with. That's you 12 o'clock midday. That's your visible horizon. And they're telling us we'll be able to see a gibbous moon at midday, but that is the position of the moon. That's where it is, which is well below the visible horizon and absolutely impossible to be able to be seen during midday. But like I say, tell me what you see midday, 15th of March, Northern Hemisphere. And on that note, I think I'm done.
I think that's a great way to wind it up. Let's look forward to the 15th for that one.
Yeah, well done. I had a lot of fun tonight.
Well, if we just get a couple of ahas out there, it's spreading the, you know, the sky above us is a living example of how the ball Earth model is wrong. It doesn't have to prove that we live on a flat stationary Earth. All we have to do is prove that what we have pummeled into us from day one in kindergarten with our spinning balls and water sticking to them is wrong. And that's all we need is for one proof to show that they're wrong. We have thousands of proofs to show that they're wrong. But if it's in your face every day, like I say, my kids look up, they know when they see an impossible moon phase and they point it out and they yell it. Yeah, it's as plain as the nose on your face when you think about it.
Before we take off, I've been trying to play catch up, and I was way back in chat, and I just got here to the part where Travis is going, "Hey, Iron Realm, check Skype." He sent a link to one of the videos over on his Plain Truth channels. I dropped the link there in the in the Zoom chat that we're currently in. Adam, off to the right.
Yeah, I sent you a message in the
Yeah, I
Zoom
just saw it too. That's what I'm saying. I'm up here, everybody.
No worries.
But certainly, thank you. I actually was trying to think, man, somebody I know's got some awesome footage. I'm sure if I go looking, and I never even thought to go to your channel, of course.
Yeah. The Plain Truth. He's done many moon transits.
He's got some great stuff going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd just like to thank everyone for listening and taking it on.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, don't forget Red Hen Radio, Travis, since we're talking about Travis.
Double N.
That's it.
It's doing brilliant stuff.
Thank you, Nathan Oakley.
Nathan, Gary, Dee Dee, Roxanne.
Everybody.
Paul on the Plane, actually, this week, Paul on the Plane put out a fantastic video about how I think it's the Chinese are faking it. I lose count. They're all the same, really, but that was brilliant. And the interview with Jaron and Jay Tolan Media one with his infrared stuff is just brilliant. So yeah, just reminded me of what I was listening to this week. And Dearth as well. Cool. What did he put out? 2 minutes today. Ah, you're no good. I retweeted it. That's as much of a sieve of my brain is.
For the whole show, I've stayed out of chat. Here at the end, I'm trying to play catch up. And you're right. It does distract you.
Right. Well, I've got a little bit of gravity to go out with again. Who's drawing pictures? That's your arrow, Zach. That'll be Zach with the green arrow, won't it?
Zach arrow, you know that.
Well.
Yeah. You know me, I can't help it. I like my arrows.
Golden.
And look, I was playing catch up. Did we watch the video? Did I miss it? Damn it. I was in chat. I'll go watch it on my time. Fucking chat. I'm turning that off next week. No more chat next week for me. I'll be blindfolded per.
You say that all the time.
You're like a crack addict.
Hey, I did good this week.
You did.
I stayed out of it. I was not in it. That's why I was so. And I probably missed important things.
Hi, Walt. Hi, Walt. Hi, Walt. Big up. Wicked. Hey.
Exactly. How do you get through a day?
See, I filled it up. There you go. I've given you a summary. Executive summary of chat this week. Sorry, chat. I'll read you when I watch it back.
Right. Night, you grumpy old man.
Yeah, I love you guys. That was fun.
Love y'all. Thank you all so much for being here this week and putting up with all our clickety clicks. Amazing presentation, y'all. I think we can definitely fine tune it, and it's going to be something to show. And yes, I saw a few people in chat saying, well, this has been covered, but as Zach and Rob can attest, that doesn't mean it's been hammered home to everybody. So be here next week. We'll be here Tuesday and Friday. We should be back over there on TFR. Josh, feel better.
Yeah, get well, bro.
Yeah, get well soon, cuz. Thinking of you. Know how you feel. Got any violins?
Not many.
Right, hit the fucking button. Let's get out of here.
Hit the button, Frank.
All right. Good night. God bless everyone.